Welcome to another video from EarnPed.com. I am StevieB back at Crystalline Peak checking out some of the snowman. I'm loving how they designed this. This is really cool. If the next island development team puts this kind of effort into everything they do, then they are going to do very, very, very well moving forward. So in the last video, I talked to you guys a little bit about the incision plates and some of the stuff going on with that. We hunted some chimera. So I wanted to talk to you guys about something a little bit different. This is going to be a little bit different than a lot of the videos that I've done. So I was just messing around on auction. By the way, this is video number 4 for the first month of the 2022 community recognition, whatever, for the Ascension armor. Just throwing that out there. One thing that I think players new and old alike forget is just how much research goes into playing this game. A lot of this game is research. A lot of it is market research, which you do on auction, both through offers and orders. A lot of it is also stuff that you do outside of the game through stuff like the wiki and Google and using websites like nihelper.com. And a lot of it is just talking to other players. So you might have noticed I messaged Killer Bee in the last video. Reason I messaged him was 2 reasons. Number 1, to congratulate him on getting one of the drop ships at Gold Rush. And number 2, he had the same Roomba pet that I have. Now Roomba pet here should have an auto loot feature at level 19. So the problem is he's level 19. He's affectionate, fed, happy. So whenever I go to show pet status, if I go to passive effects, like I unlocked increased run speed. Well, I did that several levels ago. So for auto loot to unlock it, notice it's still got the little lock. It has to be level 19. Okay, check. Have to have 100 animal essence. Okay, well, if we go to my inventory, let's pull inventory over here. Check, brought it with me. 100 animal essence right there. So, and you have to pay a cost of 9 ped. And then the strength of it will be 5 meters, and energy per hour is 60 whenever it's in use. Now, just because you've unlocked it, like, I don't have to be using it. I could hit activate and have 8% run speed, but I don't want it right now, so it's just not activated. So criteria only 50%, and I'm scratching my head going, okay, why isn't it working? Like, I should just be able to throw in the animal essence and pay the 9 ped and unlock it. And that's why I didn't do it in the last video, because that was the whole point of bringing him with me, is I was going to unlock him on next island since I got him out of ancient Greece, right? So Killer Bee had one that was level 24, so I messaged Killer Bee. I was like, yo, what is the deal here? So apparently, in order to unlock the auto loot feature, you have to raise this criteria, and you do that by using auto loot pills. So I get it, it's an auto loot feature, therefore you use auto loot pills to raise the criteria. In a way, that makes sense. You run the auto loot pill when you're running the pet, it's quote unquote teaching it to auto loot. In a way, that just kind of seems clumsy and not necessarily needed, and like a waste of money on auto loot pills. But I kind of get it. So obviously, I'm not going to be doing a lot of hunting right now. There's not a lot of sense to be wasting money on auto loot pills. So criteria is not going to go to 100. So little Roomba pet is not going to be doing any auto looting anytime soon. So unfortunately, poor little Roomba pet not going to be doing some auto looting. But I will go ahead and I will let him throw his sword just because. That one's the shield wave. Which one's the sword throw? Dance. Dance is the sword throw. I love it when he throws his little sword. So cute. Okay, and we're going to put him up because that's just a waste of Nutrio bars to have him out. So today I want to give the next island development team more praise where praise is due, and also remind you guys that research never ends in this game. So, first things I want to look at. The Raider helmet, which is so cool looking. And the Warmonger harness, also so cool looking. So there is a Raider armor set. There is a Warmonger armor set. Both of them are from Next Island. Now, obviously, if we look at the protections, are the protections great on the Raider set? No. Are they really super spectacular on the Warmonger set? Not necessarily. Actually, the Warmonger set would be a pretty good base set to use in Mayhem compared to something like Viceroy that has way too many protections, or Ghost that has way too many protections. So Warmonger I can actually give some credit to. So the question becomes, how do you get stuff like this? Well, there's two options really. The first option, which is probably the more economical of the two, is you happen to be looking on auction and you go, hey, there's a Warmonger harness. It's 340 ped. I could buy that right now. Now, keep in mind that's $34, and that is just for the harness. That doesn't include the other 6 pieces. You would have to find those whenever they came up. Or you could go, hey, there's a Raider helmet. I can get it for 100 to 140 ped, which is, 10 to 14 bucks. Now, the reason I say that this is probably the easiest is because, yes, you do have to put a set amount of ped into it. However, just buying it off auction is largely, for something like that, probably going to be cheaper than going out and actually trying to find it and loot it yourself. So the next question becomes, let's say you don't want to buy it, let's say you do want to loot it. How do you go about that? Well, research. So I still love the wiki. I know a lot of people hate the Entropia Wiki. They say it's out of date. It's not necessarily out of date. I think the biggest problem with the wiki is that not as many people keep it updated. So some of the information can be out of date, but more importantly, some of the information you want to find just is not there. And the reason it's not there is because people want to keep it to themselves, or there's a lot of people who would be happy to share it with other players that just do not feel the need to do so. I told you guys I can take a pretty long fall. There we go. And it looks like we got a sweat circle going. I don't even have my sweat tool with me, but we're going to do some running around. So, wow, they even got Christmas trees down here. That's cool. Oh, more shops down here too. This is a handy dandy place to put shops, considering this is one of the most popular places in the game. Hoplite breastplate colorable blueprint limited, 150 attempts. Very nice. They got the armbands. Looks like 150 attempts also. Wow. They got some real good stuff here. Ascension arm guards, male. Ascension harness, male. Like I said, you're going to see the prices on those go down as more and more become available. Oh wow, they've got some really cool stuff. Some wings, bat wings. I'm telling you guys, these shopkeepers, man, I wish everybody on Calypso that had a shop had stuff like this. Or Arcadia. They've got some really, really cool stuff. I could blow my entire ped card at these shops. Not only that, they're well put together and they look cool. They've even got a stone path here. Textures, some chips. All kinds of good stuff. Some whips. What's this? Island beer. That's funny. Cool. Anyway, as I was saying, and I'm going to just stand in front of the shop right here for a second while I go over to the wiki. The wiki isn't necessarily out of date so much as I think the biggest problem with the wiki is just a lot of players don't bother to update it. There was one time that I looted something from an Exosword that wasn't on a wiki, and I added it to the wiki. It's not hard. Editing the wiki is fairly easy and straightforward. It just takes a little bit of practice. I just think a lot of people don't necessarily do it. So, like for the Raider armor, if you go to the wiki and try and find out about the Raider, the last version update was 17.12.1, which was fairly recently. And apparently Raider armor, specifically the harness, drops from Desert Crawler. So Desert Crawler only seems to be found on Next Island. 33, 33, 33 cut impact acid. HP of least maturity 550. 550 on the Youngs, 1200 on the Stalkers. Looks like a fairly decent mix of loot. You got shrapnel, citrine crystal, which doesn't seem like something that would be super valuable. Muscle oil, thin wool, paint can dark blue, thyroid oil, wood extractor, electronic stabilizing component, purple paint, wool, fine wool, paint can burnt umber. So decent loot mix, it looks like, from what the wiki's reporting. And so this is apparently where the Raider harness comes from. So, looks like a little frog type creature. The problem is it's going to be extremely rare. So when you're on the wiki and it says very common, that's something like shrapnel. When it says common, that's something you're going to get maybe every 5 minutes. When it says extremely rare, you're going to be looking for a while. So the problem with something like this is like the Raider harness, the maximal TT is like 29 pet, I believe. When it says extremely rare on the wiki, the question is, how much ped are you going to have to cycle? How much time are you going to have to spend? And how much money are you going to lose trying to loot that particular item that you want? Versus if you have the opportunity to just buy it off auction, just buying it off auction. Most of the time, I would say 99 times out of 100, it is going to be far cheaper to just buy something like that off auction than it is ever going to be to actually go out and loot it. Now, there are exceptions to the rule, and sometimes you do get lucky. The biggest problem is it goes back to knowing what you're hunting. Do you have the ability to go hunt that creature and take the loot that you get, whether you get the item you want or not, and sell it for enough markup to be able to cover the cost of your ammunition burn, your decay on your FAP and your armor, your decay on your weapons, and leave you with a profit? If you have a mob that you can hunt essentially endlessly, without a lot of variance, without a lot of loss, that leaves you at a consistent profit, then yes, go for it. There is a specific unlimited something or another on a specific place that I have found with a very specific mob that I can essentially go hunt endlessly, and I can just reap the rewards of codex over and over and over. I can just codex the crap out of that creature, and no, I don't get what I want very often. It's very, very rare, but every now and then, once, every 3 or 4 days, I will get lucky and I will get one of the things that I want. And in doing this particular creature, I'm able to hunt over and over because the loot that it gives me, I'm getting back pretty much all my ammo. My ammo has pretty much stayed consistently even no matter how much I cycle with this particular creature. I haven't really made any, I haven't really lost any. However, the other loot makes it just profitable enough to handle all the decay that I'm dealing with. So I'm just in that area of profitability with it, where it makes sense to do it because I'm just getting evade after evade after evade from the codex. And then, in addition, every 3 or 4 days, I'm getting the thing that I do want. And I'm staying just far enough ahead of the curve that I'm barely in the profit zone. So if you can find something like that, where you can go after something like a Raider harness, or a Warmonger helmet, or a Warmonger harness, then obviously, by all means, go for it if you have that kind of in-game knowledge and you're already well aware. Or if you can do a small test run and find out, could this be something that I could profitably farm that would allow me to profitably farm essentially endlessly, and then be able to also get this cool item that I would like in the process. Looking at the wiki, I also pulled up Warmonger. Now, Warmonger seems to also be extremely rare, obviously. It drops from, I know I'm not going to say this right, Myrianian, Myrianian. Looks kind of like an Amazonian woman found on ancient Greece and Next Island. Minimum HP is 990. Weak is 990 HP, level 17. Marauder is 2450 HP, level 44. They tend to drop animal oil res, thyroid oil, shrapnel, tiger's eye, Amazon leg, socket 2 component, tier 2 component, paint can steel blue, vanadite crystal. Not the greatest mix of loot ever, but also Warmonger foot gloves. Now, I was not able to find out where you can get the Warmonger harness, helmet, etc., but they seem to mainly drop from this creature. Almost all the parts seem to drop from this creature, is the gist I'm getting from Wiki. And again, the reason that the Wiki is so hard to decipher sometimes is just because that people who do have the information aren't necessarily willing to take the time to go update the Wiki. It doesn't mean that the Wiki's out of date. There's a very good chance that that information is super, super accurate. And there's a super, super good chance that those Myrianons, or whatever they are, do indeed drop all the parts of the Warmonger armor. But again, it's going to be extremely rare. So the question is, can I go hunt these things endlessly, preferably at a profit, and then get happy if I get lucky and get the Warmonger stuff that I'm after, or would I just be better off buying it off auction? Just from looking at the loot that's reported on Wiki, I would probably be better off buying the Warmonger, and potentially, depending on how hunts go with Desert Crawler, I might be better off trying to farm Desert Crawler. But even that is question mark, scratch your head, because there's no way to be absolutely sure of that until you go do it, right? So the big point I'm trying to get you guys to take away here is, A, Next Island has done a great job of actually reintroducing things that players want to see. Things like the Warmonger harness and the Raider harness, they sometimes have good stats and can come in really, really handy when you're actually playing. Sometimes they just look really cool. And this is a game where sometimes you're willing to spend money for something that looks really cool. Yes, I'm going to jump off this fountain here in a moment. Give you guys an example, since it's right here, because this is a Next Island staple. Most of you guys know that my signature shtick is my Transformer helmet and my blue undies. If you come to Crystalline Peak, and you come up to the Next Island official shopkeeper, you can buy an Optimus Prime helmet, either male or female. The male is TT plus 154. The female is TT plus 154. So it's going to cost you about $17.50 to buy it, but you can buy it here brand new. Now, I did not buy mine here. I bought mine off auction. However, they are back in stock. They also have the Transformer shirts. I do not understand why this one shirt reads the way it does. This might possibly be a glitch. I've never seen this before. This one seems to have custom colors on it. But notice it says TT value 189.97 over maximum TT value of 45 PED. So then plus the markup of 205 leaves you with a purchase price of $395. I do not understand how they exceeded the TT value. I don't understand how that was possible, unless somebody on the development team had a way to bypass it and accidentally made a boo-boo. But somehow this is the first item I've ever seen where it actually has more TT value than the max. So I'm not sure how that works, how that happened, or how that would work if you ever tried to sell it to the trade terminal. But needless to say, you can put this shirt on and take it off a lot of times before you ever had to worry about running out of TT value. Just never seen that before. Interesting glitch. So you can get the Transformer helmets here. That's the kind of stuff that, yes, it does have some good protections. Yes, it does have usefulness in game. But sometimes just because something looks cool, sometimes people are willing to purchase it. So, toy Snowball Gun. Not for sale. Somebody just dropped it there on the floor. However, there's also another toy Snowball Gun over here you can get for the low price of 500 PED. They shoot snowballs. Pretty cool. I wouldn't pay 500 PED for one, but pretty handy dandy. So again, praise where praise is due. If Next Island keeps creating things that are useful in-game, like armor with good stats, keeps creating things in-game like armor that looks super cool and has okay stats or even good or great stats, then that is the kind of stuff that people are going to want to spend money on. That is the kind of stuff that is going to have demand on auction. That is the kind of stuff people are going to be willing to go hunt for. And if there are Uber players who can use some of the best gear, the best skills, and the best game knowledge to go farm those creatures and make money farming those creatures, and then also get a chance at those items that they can sell for markup because they are in demand, because they are useful, or they do look cool, then we are so headed in the right direction, it is ridiculous. And in a future video I'm going to make, this will explain why ancient Greece shares have suddenly started paying out pretty regularly, pretty good. You'll notice that Messi's even here doing some hunting. So if Messi is on Next Island doing some hunting, what does that tell you? That maybe the Next Island team finally figured out this game is about the real cash economy. That is where it is when it comes to this game. And they have done a lot of things headed in the right direction to make the real cash economy aspect a staple of Next Island and ancient Greece. There is a reason some of the biggest names in the game have come here to set up shop and farm and just post up. And that is because they have fixed the loot mix. They have made sure that the loot mix is something that the Uber players want. It's something where they can hunt, and they know they're going to have a chance at a good unlimited item they can sell for profit, or it's something where they can hunt and know that even if they don't get that good unlimited item, they're going to have something good in their loot mix that they can sell for markup to other players and be profitable, preferably both, aka Titan Armor, Mollux. We'll get to that in a future video. And that is why we have seen the AG shares start to pay out. So Next Island headed in a great direction here. I love the fact that the armor looks as good as it does and has some of the protections that it does. I am a little bit sad that the wiki doesn't have more information on some of these things, but again, I think a large part of that is simply because a lot of the players do not take the time to update the wiki. So they might get something like Warmonger or Raider armor, and they're like, I'm just not going to go update the wiki. Do you update the wiki? I know I don't. I've done it maybe 3 times, and that's me. So it's something we all need to get better at. If Next Island is going to do us the solid of improving the loot mix, improving our ability to profit from hunting, and get cool stuff like Raider and Warmonger and other stuff like that, and put cool missions in, then as the player base, one of the things that we need to do is help them out by making this information easy to find. Again, nihelper.com is great when it comes to a lot of the mission stuff, but also guys, be sure and update the wiki, because that part is on us. So I'm going to see if I can swan dive from this here luxurious fountain all the way to the ground where they're doing the sweat circle. Actually, you know what? I'm going to see if I can hit the sweat circle. See if I can hit it dead on and just drop in on them. And we'll see if I can do it without dying with my 235.6 HP. And then we'll end the video right there. So guys, from EarnPed.com, sip, sip, smack, smack. You guys know the rest. If you guys want to help support us, head over to EarnPed.com, because when you earn, we earn. By far, that is the easiest way to support us and the most helpful. Also, hit that little bell icon, subscribe to the channel, and hit that like button, because there's plenty of haters out there that love to hit the dislike button. So what are your favorite armors in Entropia, and specifically, what are your favorite armors on Next Island? Let's get that discussion going, and I will see you guys with another video very, very soon. Take care, Stevies, and bonsai we go! Gonna miss the sweat circle. Miss the sweat circle. Gonna miss it. But I lived. Hey, only 109 HP to jump all the way from up there to down here. Man, that was so much faster. So much faster. And there's all kinds of people down here sweating. I'm guessing this is probably an event for the thing that we're doing right now. Somebody's probably got that going. They're probably recording this. Anyway, we're going to end it right there. So, no, that one was not high enough to kill me. We'll see if we can find a little bit of a higher peak to jump off for next time. Take care, guys.